It's the Auburn Observer Podcast. We're back. Justin Ferguson, joined by my co-pilot per usual, Dan Peck. Hello, Daniel.
Ahoy, Justin. We are indeed back in more ways than one. And we're so back in the Wings 94.3 studio. Wings 94.3, your home for classic hits in the Auburn-Opelika area. Also your home for Auburn University athletics, football, men's basketball, baseball, Tiger Talk. You can catch all that on Wings 94.3, plus some great music all day long. You can get Eddie Money. You can catch John Mellencamp. You can catch Def Leppard. Lots of cool stuff on Wings 94.3 all the time. So we really appreciate that they let us use the studio.
As we're recording this, Auburn baseball is going on. So on Wings 94.3, you won't be listening to classic hits. You'll be listening to you'll be listening. I guess it would be Brad Law.
It's Brad Law. Yeah.
Calling her out. So the classic hits, literal hits, from
the ballpark in Texas this weekend, and
the big stadium that looks like a grill.
Yeah, I had to freestyle the Eddie Money and the John Mellencamp of
You were
it
saying
all.
the other day though, it was I think we hit a new record for most recent song played on Wings, because like every now and then you check in and you're like, oh, they played a. Because like mine was like for a while it was like they were playing like newer U2, like towards definitely
Beautiful Day.
Yeah. But we had another one recently.
The Foo Fighters and the Chili Peppers. Their mid 2000s stuff has
kind of crazy
broken
how
into.
that's starting to get into classic territory. But,
Yeah, I've heard My Hero. I've heard Everlong, and then some.
I don't love Foo Fighters that much, but I do like Everlong. Everlong's a really good song. That might be because it was a rock band song. It was a really fun one to play though.
I like some early Foo Fighters hits. A lot of the stuff feels kind of interchangeable, even if it's good. Yeah. But I do like some of some of the most popular Foo Fighter stuff.
All right, so we are not here to talk about classic hits, although we probably could. We're here to talk about a big win for Auburn basketball.
Speaking of classic, right? I mean, an instant classic last night.
Absolutely. 75-74, Auburn over Kentucky, a game they had to have. Auburn comes out on top. And, Dan, it was like, I think we talk about regression to the mean. We talk about, being unlucky at times. I put it in the observations on Sunday morning. Sometimes the basketball gods will just reward you. This has been a pretty difficult season for Auburn in terms of like what they've had to go through. They've had a lot of, they've had a lot of adversity they've had to fight through. It's been a tough season to get to this point, and they've had some stretches where you're like, man, you feel like they're not catching a break at all. Well, in this one, they did. And, obviously played hard to get to that point, but you have things like finally winning a close game. This was Auburn's first 1-point win in 3 seasons.
That's incredible. I mean, I knew that Auburn, and I think we made this point on a recent show, it's like Auburn still, like it's late in the season where you can't really say, like, have they won a close game?
Yeah.
I mean, have they won like a game that really came down to the final possession or two in crunch time? It's something that you'd feel better about seeing a team do that before they get into postseason play.
They beat South Carolina by 4, but like South Carolina scored a decent bit late, if I remember correctly.
Right,
make that one close.
And Bethune was very it was
5-point game, yeah.
5-point game early.
But it had been a while, and to do it against a team that's supposed to be making it to the NCAA tournament is pretty significant.
But it's just a reminder, like good things can happen.
Yeah,
like because it's not just. I mean, your point's valid about how much adversity this basketball team has had to face down this season, and the number of times when the final few minutes did not go their way,
and it looked like it was about to be that same way again.
But you think about like the academic year for Auburn, like stretching back into football season, like the number of times that wins have slipped through the fingertips.
Oh yeah,
of Auburn and its fans, right? Like to see a game that had all the traits of a heartbreaker, like it had everything going for it that a lot of these other games that ultimately ended with Auburn losing, like it had all those characteristics, all those symptoms, but good things are allowed to happen.
Yeah.
Good things can happen, especially when you do the things that I think both the coaches and players acknowledge this team has to do,
right,
to give itself a chance to beat. And important to think about, like, for all the lumps this team has taken this year,
mm-hmm.
they've got wins over. I mean, you look and Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and how about this? Quietly, Texas
mm-hmm.
have made cases that they are 4 of the 8 best teams in the SEC.
Yeah,
you're talking about, like, you've got wins over 4 of the top half of the conference this year.
And you throw in the non-con, non-con play. You now, if you're Auburn, have 6 wins over top 30 teams. And, Stephen Pearl pointed out last night, this was Auburn's 5th quad 1 win. I think it needs, I haven't checked net today, needing to stay there. Auburn winning close probably helped their case out a little bit. Yeah, Kentucky actually went up in net by 1, so that'll stay in quad 1 range. This is a weak bubble this season, and while Auburn has taken a lot of losses, and including, like, with the state game this week, a loss they really didn't need to take, that bubble, you've got a lot of teams who aren't even close to that in the quad 1 territory, which is why not only this win keeps Auburn on the right side of the bubble, they're off the 11 line to a lot of people right now. We're going to, I'm going to plan on scrubbing bracket matrix sometime, Monday, when I have time to kind of just look and see where Auburn sits in the field. But there's a lot of 10 seed, maybe even get back to 9 seed territory. If you lose this game, you're 11 or off probably, because of just what it means this late in the season with the way the bubble has been this year. But Auburn's got a pretty strong resume for a team that has taken a lot of losses this season, comparatively speaking.
The 1-2 punch of losing at home to Alabama and losing at home to Vanderbilt,
mm-hmm.
and then following it up with the loss at Mississippi State. Like, I think that's what pushed this into, like, now this game felt critical for your bubble 100%. Chances. Like, it was, and you're running out of, you're running out of major needle moving opportunities. I know you have at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's a quad 1 game, I believe, that's going to hang like that, because Oklahoma, even though they've lost back to back, they are it's 70th, so that'll hang in quad 1 territory now.
But no, I think it's absolutely fair to describe, like, that this was a back against the wall, like, tournament life. Tournament life was, I mean, it was. This game was going to, and is going to, weigh heavily on Auburn's tournament resume.
Correct.
Down the stretch, and it snaps this losing streak.
Yes,
it's just difficult to, on like, beyond the Kentucky of it all, right? Beyond the fact that we're still talking about, like, the brand name in men's basketball in the SEC, and beating them is significant every year for that reason.
Right.
Like, it was the timing
mm-hmm.
of the win feels like it could be incredibly significant for this program.
Yeah, and you don't want to look too far ahead, but 3 of your final 4 in the regular season are against 3 of the bottom 4 in the SEC right now. And I know, like, winning at Oklahoma is not going to be super easy. We know that by the fact that they beat Georgia by 16 a couple weeks ago at home. They took A&M down to the wire last night. They beat Vandy. But for Auburn, it's this, you needed this because you can see where momentum can be built. You can see where you see the pathway. And so for the game to go like it did, final few minutes, what happens to Auburn again? They give up threes, defensive breakdowns, turnover. They can't score. And Kentucky grabs that lead. And you're down 3, and the Tahad Pettiford going downhill and trying to score thing when you're down 3, there have been times this season where it's felt like, oh, why is he not taking a 3 at that point? It was still probably earlier enough you could go downhill and still play the foul game. And fortunately he did, because he gets the 2 free throws. It's a 1-point game. And then Kevin Overton becomes the crash test dummy of the game, where he gets it's a physical game. It was a super physical game of basketball, and there is extension on the push off. Is it always called? No. Is it going to be called in that moment? Not every single time, but it was clear enough and big enough in that moment that Auburn gets the turnover, and then obviously you get to the final possession where, once again in this game for Auburn, your first shot doesn't go down at the rim. You get blocked. The second shot doesn't go down at the rim. I mean, that happened so many times in this game. But Elijah Freeman's there to clean up for KeShawn Murphy to tap it back in with, I would say, if it wasn't for I'm willing to say this, Dan. If it wasn't KeShawn Murphy, the only other dude on the floor for Auburn who was going to hit that shot was going to be Elijah Freeman, because that wingspan he's got, that leap he's got, he was able to get up there and get it home because of how gifted he is.
And Hall had a big game on the glass,
yes.
but above the rim's not.
Back, yeah, putbacks aren't his thing as much. Like he would be, like he could have done what KeShawn Murphy did and get that first initial look, but to be able to be the guy that's like going to fly in and to have the frame of mind of, I mean, go back and watch that play. KeShawn Murphy gets that the ball bounces to him perfectly off the block on the Kevin Overton shot, and it's wide open. It's wide open. That's something. I mean, Murph says after the game he probably should have just crammed it if he could.
Yeah. And
yet Elijah Freeman says after the game, he's like, "Look, I had the mindset of I got to crash the glass no matter what. I got to be there, and to be aware and to know that I can jump higher than everybody out here, and I got arms that can beat people to 50-50 balls." He does it perfectly and tips it back in, and Auburn ends up winning the game off of it.
Yeah, love seeing him come into his own and figure out sort of.
He had a great game.
Yeah, and figure out what works and what doesn't for his offensive game, jumping up from D2 to the SEC.
And we'll get into it here with the defense for Auburn, because that was the big takeaway I had in this one. But go back and look. Freeman plays extended stretches this game, usually longer than he might have had in other games this season, because his defense was so good. And the fact that he was plus 10 in a game where Auburn won by 1 shows you his value on both ends of the floor.
How about this, too? Because of the way things broke down, like Tahad's not on the floor for that final. Or they get him. He's
on the floor battle for the putback.
They get him on the floor at the very end for the exchange, right? They called the timeout to get him subbed in. Is that
yes?
They get him.
Well, he subs in after the offensive foul.
Yes.
They were doing offense for defense subs.
Yes, they get Tahad's on the floor. He gets back on the floor for the.
They were doing the swap arounds with Overton and Freeman and Sway and Pettiford. I pointed this out in the observations on Sunday morning. Excellent job by Ira Bowman, who controls Auburn's rotations and substitution patterns on the bench. He did a great job in that final couple of minutes of using those offense for defense substitutions, that in and out stuff, and it ended up working out for Auburn because they had the right guys on the floor when they needed them.
We've asked the question throughout the season of like where is Auburn's most reliable sources of offense? Like where can you if it's a situation like the one at the end of the game last night, who do you want down 1 late? What's the plan? And I think giving the ball to KeShawn Murphy down low is a pretty good plan. Right now,
initially the plan was Hall, and we'll talk about this as well.
And letting Hall touch it makes a lot of sense too.
And there's no room for him, so he gives it to Overton, and Overton gets downhill and he gets a shot blocked, and Murphy's there to clean it up. But Freeman's ultimately there to really clean it up.
And then I think the play, as important as that offensive sequence is that gets Auburn the lead, the game winner, the offensive foul.
Yeah.
Is maybe and you can even go back to Tahad's decision to not attempt the 3,
right,
and to go to the basket and to play the foul game.
You extend the game at that point, and he did a really good job of that. And Overton, look, man, like that play, it could, everybody who wears a shade of royal blue is going to tell you that was the wrong call. Mark Pope.
You can't speed past a cop and then say, well, everybody else is speeding too.
Yeah,
like I think both things can be true. Both things can be true.
It was right in front of that referee too.
Both things can be true. That it is a play that when you're inbounding the ball against full court press, you don't always see the push off called, the off ball like before the pass push off. You don't always see that called an offensive foul. That doesn't mean it's not against the rules. That doesn't
Right.
mean it's something that you're allowed to do.
My thing there is that if you're Kentucky in that situation, the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is turn the ball over with no time going off the clock.
Dead ball. Yeah.
Yeah. And pushing off is that like if
Like
you
a 5-second call
right,
on the inbounds.
if you get the ball in and say Auburn goes and rips it or something, there's a chance the ball could get deflected off of you or off of them or something like that. You could get in there. But to give the ball back to Auburn, like it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to extend your arm out like that. Even if you want to say if it was worth the foul or not, I think it was. But when you go extension like that and it's right in front of the referee and it's such a big moment right in front of Auburn's bench, it's going to get called a lot more often than you think.
I'll tell you something else too, and Chandler's a very good player.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. It felt like in that second half, we used to see this with Chad, where it's like it's slowly coming to a boil.
Yeah.
Like it's for his frustration is slowly, like, it's growing with every. I mean, Chandler has 4. I think that's his 4th turnover of the second half.
Yeah.
The offensive foul.
Yeah.
And I mean he's
he's a guy that came into this game shooting 58% from deep in the month of February. He's the SEC's best 3-point shooter, and he was 1 for 6 in this game.
And his one was early, right?
His one was early.
Yeah.
And so if you're Auburn, like, you have to take full advantage of those situations, and they did. So again, it's a break. Kentucky making that mistake there gives you that opportunity, but you got to go out there and take it and finish it, and they did. So for this Auburn team to snatch one like this after, let's go.
We should do this memento style, where it's like we're starting with the tip in at the very end. Like, we're going to tell this. We're going to go
backwards.
Yeah, we're going backwards, sort of like.
But like, you lose by 1 to Houston this season. You lose by 4 in overtime to Georgia. You lose that controversial finish against Texas A&M. You lose by 4 to Alabama. That was a pretty close game as well. And obviously the meltdown earlier this week against Mississippi State. For you to be the team to actually get out and get one there, I do think it's like, the basketball guys rewarded you. And I'll say this, I think the basketball guys rewarded you if you were Auburn, because they went back to the thing that got them wins earlier in SEC play, which is sitting down and playing some dadgum defense. Like, that's what they did. If you'd have told me heading into this game, Dan, playing the Dan Pet game, Kentucky's going to score 74 points, I would say Auburn probably rolls in this one. 74?
I think Auburn would. How about this? I think Auburn would take 74 at home against anyone in the conference and feel good about it.
Especially Kentucky. Especially with a team that has Chandler, that has Otega Owe, who got his in this game. And Denzel Aberdeen's been a great player away from home this year. Malachi Moreno's been great. Like, that's something you absolutely have to take. But we said it. Like
South Carolina is the only conference game this year of the home games where it's like 74 would have been enough to beat Auburn. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you look at this and we've said it. Auburn's lost some games, including in this.
And Auburn won the South Carolina game.
Yeah. Auburn has lost some games in that losing streak where it was, you scored plenty. Mm-hmm. You scored well more than enough to win that game.
It goes back to what, 92 at home against Alabama should be. Yeah.
They were losing games, high-scoring games left and right, and including the one earlier this week against Mississippi State. But this was Auburn's best defensive game since the Florida win. This is also their best win since the Florida win, I would think. Yeah, Texas is in that range as well. This was Kentucky's worst offensive performance since Vanderbilt blew them out a month ago. So this was a good offense you held in check for a defense that had been pretty poor in recent weeks. And that, like, from the beginning, Dan, like, you can watch this game from the jump and you can tell, even though Kentucky was scoring at times through it, it felt like you watch it and you felt like Auburn was just on a different level on defense. The communication was better. You saw Auburn calling the actions out more. They were being more disruptive. Kentucky turns the ball over 14 times in this game, And one of the big hallmarks of this team, so this was a Nathan King stat, Kentucky had this crazy good record when they had been held to 10 or fewer, or when they had committed 10 or fewer turnovers. They'd been excellent this season. They get 14, obviously the big one being that Chandler one at the end, but Auburn was disruptive. And yeah, Otega Owe got his, but Otega Owe got his taking 20 shots in this game. And he didn't get loose from three. And nobody for Kentucky got loose from three. They had long stretches where they couldn't even score, much less hit a shot. And it reminded me some, Dan, of the St. John's game where it was, Zuby got his in that game, but that was kind of it. And you can win that way as long as you make sure the guy getting his doesn't go Josh Hubbard mode. By the way, Stephen Prohl saying he almost threw up his lunch because he saw that Hubbard go 4 for 20 from the field against South Carolina in that loss.
The fickle nature of the jump shot, right? Yeah. I mean, you can have. I mean, we've talked about it with teams in the SEC like A&M and Vanderbilt that take a bunch of jumpers. They can have nights where you look at the score and you say that can't possibly be right, and then you look. And then there's other nights where you look and you're saying the exact same thing, but for the other reason. Yeah. And so I mean, it's that's going to happen.
But it reminded me. It reminded me a lot of that St. John's game though, because you have to come back in the second half. Auburn's down 9 early in the second half in this one, but you do it with defense, and it's like, okay, their best guy, their best scorer is going to get his to a degree, but as long as he doesn't go crazy and as long as you don't let anybody else go off, you can win that game. And for a defense that's not elite, for a defense that is at best solid, like when they play well this season, Auburn's defense is solid, not great, solid. You can win games that way, and you did it in this game where it was like, look, man, Owe's a monster going downhill. He's tough. Yeah. Now, you don't want to do the KeShawn Hall thing.
He was carrying them.
You don't want to have the KeShawn Hall thing at the end of the game where he's beating you with his dominant hand, but. He's tough, man. He's so good at getting downhill, and he's so good at finishing. And even if you throw bodies at him, he can finish. But what happened in this game? Chandler doesn't hit shots. Aberdeen hits a few. That's kind of it. The Kentucky front court's just, and I know Moreno got dinged up early in the game, but
and Garrison gets in foul trouble, doesn't he?
Garrison gets in foul trouble
almost immediately.
The big fella.
Yelovich. Yeah. He's like Jovic's Wario.
Yeah.
Like they played in they were on the
They're
same
on KK.
Yeah, they were same team last year.
Well, as we were saying recently, all that starting 5 at Mega Basket is all playing high major ball this year, which I think is really cool.
And who knows how often those two guys were up against each other in practice as Mega Basket teammates, but you could see that when they would sort of isolate and go one-on-one.
So Auburn's front court wins the game and wins their matchups for sure. KeShawn Murphy, well, we'll talk more about because we need to talk about his big performance and stuff. But I go back to defensively, you saw better communication, you saw better switching, you saw more physical play, you saw Auburn stick with it. Was it always perfect? No. They give up. They have some breakdowns that give up those threes that get Kentucky back in the game and then eventually give them the lead. Gives them the door to take the lead. No, it wasn't perfect. No, it wasn't great. But what did they do? They busted their tails on defense, and they played hard, and they played together. And it was enough because holding Kentucky to 74 is a good accomplishment at this point in the season for a defense that has gone through a lot of problems.
Not just that, but holding Kentucky to 74 when Kentucky's got 46 early in the second half.
Yeah.
And there is a, and I think it's the stretch. I mean, I said
they go 6 minutes without a basket.
Well, I said it at the time. I'm like, if Auburn comes back and wins this game, you're going to look at. I mean, and this does fit with the memento of it all because we started with the end of the game appropriately. That in the second half, that 8-minute stretch where like Kentucky's got. When does Kentucky score? See if I can pull it up.
I got it.
When does Kentucky get to 46? That's early in the second half.
Kentucky gets to 46 on the Owe dunk on the fast break with 17:53 left.
Okay, now when does Kentucky get to 53? It takes
7:34.
Okay,
10 minutes.
So it takes.
No, I'm sorry. 10:22. Aberdeen hits a three-pointer. But they stay at 53. They don't get past 53 until 6:53.
So it takes them about 11 minutes to score 7 or 8 points, give or take, against that Auburn defense in the second half after building a 9-point lead.
It took them exactly 12 minutes to score 8 points.
When they built a 9-point lead and looked like they were on the verge of finishing Auburn
11
off.
minutes. I can't do math.
Like that, yeah. That stretch in the second half.
Yeah.
And it's everything. It starts.
And with Auburn not being able to finish as well, it felt like, okay, this is going to be another gun. They can't do it enough. They can't get enough. Yes, you have to get over the hump. They finally get it. They get that 10-0 run to get over the hump. But the big thing there is you put yourself in position. Like, yes, it's frustrating that you're just like, you're still down 2. You're still down 4. You can't hit that big shot. You hadn't found it. The defense gave them more time because 10, 11 minutes is an eternity for them to do that. And obviously they go on that run to take control of the game, obviously before the late few minutes.
The magic of stringing together stops and what it can do for a basketball team and what it can do to the opponent, right? I mean, you saw some of those Kentucky offensive possessions during that stretch are appalling.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're like, there
and it's crazy because they've got weapons, and Mark Pope's a really good offensive mind, and like Auburn just had him scouted out.
Aberdeen's hitting the backboard, right? I mean, there's logo 3 attempts. I mean, there's shot.
There's one that Chandler shoots that you're just like, that is I am frustrated, and I think I might be able to hit this.
Yes. I mean, it is. I mean, so what Auburn's defense was able to do to them in the second, like, it would have been an impressive 11, 12 minutes of defense for anyone, like at any time against Kentucky. But when Kentucky had built a 9-point lead and the way things were trending, like Owe and some of those shooters were about to get hot and run you out of your, and not just like imagine what a runaway second half win for Kentucky does to this team and this season and this program.
Oh, it's over.
Like,
this season's over at that point.
Like if that game continues, you know, if the trajectory had continued for that game, 17, 18 minutes left in the second half, like we're doing a postmortem, right, of the Auburn basketball season.
We're talking about how miraculous it'd have to be for them just to make the tournament at that point.
We're calling Adam Cole for a baseball update, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, it's
by the way, good comeback win against Florida State.
Tremendous weekend.
First win over Florida State.
It's a nice it's like
the first one in a while.
Yeah.
But it's Florida State.
Yeah,
like the team that always gives you problems.
And seeing the bats wake up, like it's positive stuff in Texas. But it is like, if it was critical. Like that is, I mean, we were using it's a red alert, seasons online. We're talking all that stuff. Like you put yourself in a situation early in the second half where like the chips were down, and this was like it's gut check time.
Well, and
Auburn responded.
And this is where I talk about 2 key aspects of this game. Number 1, Kentucky missed some open shots. But it's like, if you're Auburn, you were like, it's about time somebody. We've been giving up contested shots. Somebody's got to start missing open ones, kind of like we've been missing some open ones, and that happened. The second thing too is, to get stops, you have to get defensive rebounds, and Kentucky's really good at getting on the offensive glass. It's been one of the key parts of their game this year. This is where I talk about KeShawn Hall. Second straight home game where he just does not have it on offense. Just didn't. 3 of 15, 1 of 6 from deep. Only gets to the free throw line in the final few minutes of the game. I mean, Kentucky had him. He just didn't have his best. Him and Tahat Bedford didn't have the scoring and the shooting that they usually have in this game. But what do you see out of both of those guys? You see defense, you see effort, you see hustle. In the case of Hall, 9 rebounds in this game, 8 of them on the defensive end. He also has 7 assists. 7 assists in this game. So credit goes to KeShawn Hall in this one for when the shot's not falling, when you're not living at the free throw line, when you're not getting to be your usual self, can you still play winning basketball? And look, KeShawn Hall is not a plus defender at this level. He's just not. He's not. He can be a plus scorer. In a game where the plus scoring wasn't there for him, he got stops. He made plays. He moved the ball. And so credit needs to go to KeShawn Hall for this one, because it could have been very easily of, you're done, you shut down. And look, he had mistakes down the stretch of the game, blew defensive assignments, had a turnover, got lit up by the coaching staff for it. I wrote about this in the observations. I ended up taking it out later because the way I wrote it initially at 3 a.m. was too harsh. There's a video from the game at the final possession where Murph goes up, and we've got to talk about Murph next, but where Murph goes up and the scramble and Moreno doesn't have a shot to get it and ball game's over, and the team goes to rush out on there, and you can see on the video Hall untug his jersey, he's walking back towards the sideline, and plenty of Auburn fans saw that and were like, "What the heck, man? Like what's going on?" That did happen, right? It's not a great look initially. However, if you go back and look on the broadcast, stuff like that, he's in the handshake line. He's hugging the coaching staff. He's like, obviously it was a tough final few minutes for him. Obviously it was a tough game for him, right? And, you don't want the emotions of that disappointment, especially after a win, cloud that too much. But it would be harsh to say, like, he was mad after the win or something like that. And the way I initially wrote it in the observations, it's my fault entirely. I ended up having to take it out because I had some people point some stuff out to me. But yeah, just all that to say, yes, KeShawn Hall had a tough final few minutes, but Auburn isn't in position to win that game without what he was doing away from the scoring. You
made reference to it. There did seem to be a possession late where there's an Auburn basket and then there's a stoppage in play, and Steven goes right
it's
to
it's
KeShawn
the KeShawn
Hall.
Murphy 3.
And is it after?
It's immediately after Murph's 3 and they call a timeout.
Is it after Owe had given up at Owe?
He got beat. Owe beat him. Owe beat him with a strong hand.
Right, and it was.
It's a tough assignment, but you can give up. That's the thing. Give up baskets if you have to. If you're gonna have to, give up baskets, running the game plan and execute. And it's just like, if a dude beats you, Don't let them go to the easy stuff. Don't give up easy ones. And Auburn, obviously, they had some breakdowns. The fact that they were able to, all those stops and all that good defense they played for most of the game helped them, because down the stretch they did not have the defense they needed to.
And Steven must have thought it was particularly egregious because
it was.
Because he, that's
it's just breakdowns.
Well, that's
just you guard Owe differently there, and I believe it was a ball screen coverage that they'd blown.
Because that seems like it should be maybe not a celebratory moment, but not a moment where a guy's getting getting lit up.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
But that's what happened. He chews out to Hod and down the stretch as well, and he's still out there on the floor and handles it well.
But like you said, I think if there was a significant problem, and again I'm speculating, but if there was a significant problem, I don't know if Hall's getting the ball on the final.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Final possession of the game.
All right, Murph, 25 and 10, career high in points. He had 8 offensive rebounds in this game, first time in his career. On a night when Auburn could not buy a shot down low, it felt like there was a lid on that rim, and he was 9 of 14. He was 9 of 14. I know he had the one miss there late that Freeman was able to come up big with and save the day for Auburn. But
you said that
6 of 6 from the line too for Murph, for a big man. Real quick before we get to that, KeShawn Murphy, I want to point out, 85% from the free throw line in SEC play as a 6'11" big man.
Yeah, you said that Freeman came in like Superman's cape, right? But he's swinging in,
and Murph's Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
Did you see the video? Well done by Auburn's creative team. It's a video they posted on Sunday morning. And it's his highlights, but it's the beginning. It's a clip from the Amazing Spider-Man movies where Jamie Foxx is talking.
Oh wow! Okay.
Garfield, and he makes the line. He's like, "I thought you were going to be black." I said, "Surely there's a black Spider-Man out there." And then it cuts to KeShawn Murphy doing that. They're like, really good stuff. I thought that was awesome.
For a second when you said Jamie Foxx was talking to Garfield, I was like, is there a multiverse situation?
Andrew Garfield. But yeah, he played his tail off. Oh. And he was coming off a game where he did not have his best stuff at all against Mississippi State. And you could tell that ate at him because it was State, right? And he wanted to get that win really badly.
Dude, he's, especially when you think about watching him struggle through it at the beginning of the season because of the injuries.
Yeah.
Right? And watching where it's like I think I may have called him, like right now it felt like he was a ticking time bomb because he's so clearly trying to gut through stuff. And instead, what happened was he got healthier as the season went on. He started. I mean, it became easier for him to move seemingly the further he got away from those injuries.
And he's become a better version of the guy Auburn got out of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Like, you look at his per 40 numbers and his percentages last season at State, they were like, oh, those were really good. It's like, you need to go out there and get that guy. Auburn's now getting that while giving him starter minutes. And it was from the very beginning of the game, not to throw off your entire, memento piece, but like, go back to the very first possession of the game.
No, that's something they do. They do that in Memento.
Okay.
We'll go. Yeah, we'll
the very first possession of the game, it's an offensive rebound and a trip to the free throw line, and then the next possession is a dunk for Auburn. So it's like he set the tone in this game. And
Janai Broom's a big movies guy, right? So he would appreciate this.
Horror movie guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a huge horror movie.
Maybe he's seen Memento. I don't know.
He probably has. No, we don't know. He's a big horror movie guy, though. I do remember that. But with Murph, it's like you needed every bit of that from him in this game. And he grinds and he fights. And you look at it, Auburn wins the paint battle. It's been a big thing for them this year. They get more blocks. Kentucky finishes with more rebounds. But Auburn's able to do a really good job of handling that Kentucky front court. Like, Moreno's 7-7, 4 assists. He's a good player. He's a really good player. Garrison and Diabate and Yelovich are kind of held in check for the most part. I thought what you got, you don't get a ton of stats out of Sway and Jovic, but like those guys fought and held their own in that matchup. We obviously talked about Keyshawn Hall rebounding his tail off in this game as well. But for Murph, is like he's a leader. Like, who does this team rally around? Who does this team follow? Who's that guy? It's Murph, right? And some people will say he's not the only one.
Every team of superheroes needs one of those superheroes to step up and be the
Auburn's like, when we talk about leadership on this team, like Tahad Pettiford is a guy that I think has gotten more vocal this season. His personality is not the, rah-rah alpha dog type of guy. But, before the game, you could tell he was really getting into it, pregame with a speech in the huddle. Kevin Overton, Keyshawn, there's veteran guys, Keyshawn Hall, like there's veteran guys that step up for this team. But throughout the year,
I have a theory about that.
Throughout the year though, Murph has been the guy that really leads the charge for this team. And Perla said it recently. You got to go to it, like to get into the NCAA tournament, right? Couple things here. Keyshawn Hall's never been to the NCAA tournament. This is it for him. KeShawn Murphy's never won an NCAA tournament game, and they have talked very openly about getting him one and how much he wants one. You need a win like this to help you get into the dance, and the fact that he was the guy leading the charge for it, I think, is pretty poetic.
And guys that have been on the bubble before, like guys that have been through fighting to get into the NCAA tournament,
guys who have been hungry dogs.
I think they,
in these situations.
Yeah, I think they have a better understanding of like. And I don't know the history, like the tournament history for all of them as far as like have they ever had like they were on the bubble and it didn't go their way. But I think they know how bad that.
I don't know if Hall's ever been on a team that's been close.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And with Murph, I think maybe they either they were in or they were like pretty far from in. I feel like in the memories of
Murph. They lost to Baylor last year in the first round. Lost to Michigan State in the first round. And lost to Pitt by 1 in the first round. So he's never been part of a team that's won a tournament game.
Yeah.
State in those years weren't, they were playing teams that were higher seeded than them.
Sure. Which would indicate like, no, they've had to fight. He's had to scrap to get into the NCAA tournament before. And it's like, I think know
State, how. State went 8-10 last year, made the dance.
They know. So I would think Auburn's veterans.
They were 8 seed last season.
Know how serious and how important this is in a way that it might be.
Okay.
Other guys can have an idea about it, but no, it's great to see it's great. It's going to need to come from the most impactful guys and the older guys, and it's good to see that's the case.
To your point, Murph has been on an 8 seed team twice and an 11 seed team once.
Yeah.
So yes, very much that kind of range.
This dude has lived on the bubble, like in his college basketball.
And he's a grinder, man. He was a dude that like. Auburn recruited out of high school, but he wasn't the highest rated guy. So he goes to State to get an opportunity, and he fights to get like it's a good story for that. And in a game like this where you have to win by just heart and grit and just plugging it out, like That is what you needed in this game from Auburn. And so to make that shot, to be in the position to make that shot, to get those finishing moments, like he did an excellent job in this game, and he's been big. If you want to hear more or read more, I should say, about KeShawn Murphy, film room on Monday coming out at the Observer. We're doing a Murph film room. My brother and I are, so you'll get a lot more Murph on Monday. Have a Murph Monday.
It would, for all the talk, understandably, about Tahad and KeShawn Hall this season and how important they are and how many of the storylines have revolved around their play and their availability. This season would be lost without KeShawn Murphy.
Oh, yeah. No, you're
right?
you're nowhere. I mean,
like, understand
him. Like, that was the thing. It was like earlier in the year, it was like, well, Auburn ain't got the rim protection. Auburn ain't got the size. They're rebounding the ball pretty well. Obviously, and it's been more of like the defense on the perimeter that's been the bigger issue for him this season. But I think a big reason for that is like, yeah, Murph is healthy. Like, you can sit here and say, wow, I mean, it was rough without the rim protection against Michigan and Arizona. Dan, what do we know about Michigan and Arizona?
Ooh.
They're really stinking good, man.
Two of the safer Final Four bets on the board is how I would.
Michigan lost a thriller to Duke.
Hey, man.
Remember, Arizona looked good.
When we were previewing Arizona, I was like, I saw Del Orso play a couple of times last. That dude is a killer.
Yeah,
that guy is.
Yeah.
No.
But it's like, Auburn didn't look
Arizona's
good.
Gonna be a tough
Auburn
out.
didn't look good down low when they had two freshmen and a banged up guy trying to play against the biggest and toughest teams in the country. And it's like, yeah, but you stay the course. He gets healthier. These guys get more experience, and that front court helping carry Auburn in this win is huge.
You know, they showed a graphic, I believe, I want to say it was during the Auburn game last night, talking about different Conference Player of the Year contenders. And it's like, for all the Alex Condon hype and the talk of him going to the NBA draft last year, and he was very good at times last year. It's like, there are two other front court pieces at Florida that.
Oh, I think Hawks. I think Hawks the guy.
And you know, Chinyelu leads the conference in
almost everything
in double doubles. Like he's.
We were talking about this the other day. The All SEC picks are going to be tough this year because like I can give you like 10 guards that I think you get in the mix there, and the bigs who can get it are like, you know, be very interested to see what they end up doing. Like, you get down to like the third team and you want to pick bigs, like Murph's a good pick because like, yeah, you got Hawk, you know, Amet's a really good front court guy. They got some other pieces, but like, I mean, Murph, little quick Murph check for his numbers this year in SEC play. He is third in offensive rating, fourth in offensive rebounding, fourth in defensive rebounding, third in turnover rate, ninth in free throw shooting, and then he is top 15 in block percentage, true shooting percentage, top 20 in effective field goal percentage, and 2-point field goal percentage. He has been a two-way monster since he's been in SEC play. And I know this hasn't been the best of seasons for Auburn, and they had to grind, and they had to escape with a win to end a 5-game losing streak, and they're still going to live life and survive in advanced mode. But when that dude is leading the charge for you, a lot of good things can happen. A lot of really good things can happen. So good for Murph and good for this team to get it. And, like, yeah, other guys stepping in. It's the thing where this team, though, Dan, it's like you can get winning. Like, how about this? You can get winning basketball, winning numbers from Tahad Pettiford and KeShawn Hall and KeShawn Murphy and Kevin Overton. And Elijah Freeman continues to get better and better. And you've seen Sway and like your rotation, your 7-man rotation, it's thin. But this is the time of year where everybody's getting thinner. All of those guys have shown that they can give you winning, like difference-making basketball this season. And it's just, can you get enough of them going at the same time? Can you get enough from several of them? And not knowing that everybody doesn't have to be awesome and win. You do that and play good team defense. This team has potential, and the proof is, like I said earlier, they've beaten 6 teams that are top 30 basketball teams.
And I go back to, I would say 4 of the. I mean, look, your ranking of the SEC. You know, you gotta make some tough calls right now if you wanted to rank the league 1 through 16.
Like Auburn is in a tough spot because like they are probably going to end up having to play on Wednesday, and they're going to finish in the bottom half of the league. But like, to think that, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, A&M, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Texas, Missouri, right? We got all that. One of those, all those teams are 8-6 or better right now in the league. One of those teams is going to be playing on Wednesday in Nashville.
And Auburn has wins over several of those teams you just listed.
Correct.
Auburn's beaten Florida. They've beaten Texas. They've beaten Arkansas. They've beaten Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like it is. I think
they played a tough schedule. They played a really tough schedule.
There is proof of when this team, when it works, it can, this team can hit the jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, can they find a way to get it to work more often between now and the end of the season? If they can, suddenly this team has some things that make them seem very dangerous. If they can't, we've seen what can happen on a bad night.
Also, by the way, listen, that non-conference schedule is going to help them out a ton. No one is going to blink at, oh, you got blown out by Michigan. Oh, you got blown out by Arizona. Oh, you got blown out by Purdue. Well, at least you played them. You weren't at home beating up on South Carolina upstate, The other thing, too, right? NC State had a week from just a nightmare week a couple weeks ago. They blew out Carolina earlier in the week. They have a decent-looking run-in. They've got Virginia this week at home. They got to go to Notre Dame. They play Duke at home, which will be interesting to watch that one. And then Stanford. They're firmly in the tournament picture. Which, again, I'm going to keep going on and on that always felt like the case for that team. And then meanwhile, Dan, have you checked in on St. John's recently? So St. John's, they showed a stat last night on.
I know some folks thought they were going to be in the 16, right? Weren't they?
Yeah.
There was talk.
Well, here's the deal. St. John's lost to Providence earlier this season by 6 at home. And it was like, that's not a great result for St. John's. We'll see how it goes. And I've continued to bang the drum of like, I had Auburn fans telling me that, hey, we sure St. John's going to, like, I was like, hey, that St. John's one's a pretty good one. It's like, are we sure they're even going to make the tournament? Are we sure NC State's going to make the tournament? Right now, yes. But here's St. John's. Since losing to Providence, you know how many games St. John's has lost? 0.
0 games. Yeah.
13-game winning streak. The stat I was referencing earlier, this is the longest winning streak for St. John's since they went to the Final Four in the 80s.
We said it watching, and
they play at UConn on Wednesday night too.
And we didn't say it about Oregon, but it's like,
oh God, Oregon.
But Michigan and St. John's were games where it's like these two teams are going to win a lot of conference games.
By the way, did you see what Oregon did last night? Oregon's won 2 out of their last 3.
They beat SC, right?
They beat SC. SC is falling off a cliff.
Yeah, speaking of it,
it's falling off a cliff.
There was a chance.
Also, what the heck happened in the Illinois UCLA game?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Don't ask stupid questions. All right, that's what happens. No, so watch out, baby. Mick Cronin still got the fastball. No, so there was a chance
he's gonna throw it right at your head.
and it's right. And you know what? And I guess you still could have this depending on how things break. But like, could you get Chad Baker-Mazara versus Auburn?
There was a real possibility
in Dayton.
Yeah, but it's just like
game?
But like SC's
they gotta win some games to get there.
SC's last 4, they play UCLA twice.
Mm-hmm.
They play Nebraska and they go to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Not great.
And I feel like they've let some games against non-tournament teams slip away. In Big Ten play.
And Chad came back last night. He had missed the last few with injury. He had 21 against Oregon. But anyway, it's all that to say, this Auburn team, again, we tell you the ceiling is good. The floor is as low as it's been in a while. Some of that's just comes with the territory at this point.
That's part of life with an entirely new team.
Yeah.
Last year too, like because I had people asking me, like, by the way, interesting stat about I think it was last year's UConn team.
Yeah.
Like didn't make the Sweet 16 right after the back-to-back championships, and it's apparently pretty normal for the reigning national champion to miss the Sweet 16. Like that's something that, like it's.
Well, I think it's just it's so cyclical.
Exactly, and I think that's there's some, and look, I understand.
I think Florida's going to make the Sweet 16. Though.
Yeah, and I understand. Like Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee have not dropped off a cliff.
No,
but I think Tennessee and Alabama look at their season right now and say we're not as good as we were last year.
Sure.
And it's like,
and Florida wasn't at the beginning.
And I think that's life when you build a team around seniors and enjoy the kind of success that Auburn had last year. I mean, I guess when you build a team around seniors, period. But when you build a team around seniors and enjoy that kind of success, like there are going to be ups and downs. Your following year is probably going to be a roller coaster. And for Auburn, it's been, I mean, there have been. Well, it's been the Great American Scream Machine.
I mean, Houston. There was the stat that Houston lost their second home game as a Big 12 member yesterday when they lost to Arizona. There's some nature to it of being cyclical, right? Like Michigan and Arizona are two of the best teams in the country. And like we were saying earlier, and they were Sweet 16 teams last season, but they have higher aspirations this year. Other teams have kind of been able to go back and forth with this one. So you got to keep that in mind. I'll just go back to it again, Dan. Defensive efficiency for Auburn, when it is under 110. Actually, it's when it's under 105. In SEC play this year, Auburn is 5-0. All 5 of their wins in SEC play. Or, I'm sorry, 5 of their 6. When it's above that number, 1-8. And we've seen them play really well on offense and lose, but we have not seen them play poorly on defense and win except for the Texas game. And the Texas game was just this unreal shooting performance.
And I think with the Kentucky game, Auburn had a stretch. When Kentucky built that lead, Auburn had a stretch at the end of the first half and early in the second half where the offense was not working.
Nope.
I mean, Auburn misses, I'm freestyling these numbers, but I want to say it's like 2 of 18. Like Auburn, Auburn's missing shots, and they get back.
If you would have told me Auburn missed 20 shots at the rim last night, I would have believed you. I think officially it wasn't that number, but it felt closer.
I think they missed. I think they missed 10 around the basket in the first half.
Yeah.
So 20, they're on pace for 20.
Dunk it. Just dunk it. Take out the element of chance.
But Auburn reversed this game with defense. Like the Auburn offense wasn't working, and Kentucky's offense was. And Auburn's ability after Kentucky built that 9-point lead to start stringing together possessions where they forced Kentucky to miss, or they forced Kentucky to turn it over, or they forced Kentucky into a shot clock violation because they didn't even get the shot off. Like to string some of that together, it was on top of the fact that it opens up transition opportunities and chances at easy baskets. I think that was exactly what that was the tonic that the Auburn offense needed to get into gear, and suddenly a game that looked like it was, I was saying earlier, like that game was like that was a book closer.
Yeah.
Right. Like that game was Kentucky was prepared to end Auburn's season.
Mm-hmm.
And Auburn fought back, and they did it largely especially initially, they did it with defense to stop the Kentucky attack.
All right, quick turnaround here from Auburn going to Oklahoma on Tuesday night. Very, very quick turnaround. It's going to be tough. What do we know about Oklahoma heading into this one? Well, Oklahoma's 3-11 in SEC play. They're back to under 500 overall. Lost to A&M by 4 on Saturday, and lost to lost to A&M by 4. Lost to Tennessee by 23 in Knoxville earlier in the week. That snapped what had been back-to-back wins for them, where they beat Vandy on the road when they had to hold on for dear life in that game, and then they beat Georgia rather convincingly by 16 at home. Before that, they had lost 9 straight in SEC play. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of game this is going to end up looking like for Oklahoma. Now that they've taken a couple of losses, it's towards the end of the season. They're not going to make the tournament. You're going to be towards the bottom of the league. What's the frustration level going to look like with Porter Moser this year? And what is this team going to end up being? Because this is on pace to be in his worst season at Oklahoma in year 5.
I just think for Oklahoma, for LSU, and for South Carolina, I feel like you kind of got what you should have been expecting going into the season based on preseason expectations.
Well, and your roster for sure.
Yeah, and so I mean, and you could make a change, but it's like, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, and I dare I say, it's what you probably should have expected based on what you got last year.
Yeah, out
of all 3 of those schools, and so it's like, you maybe you wanted to give it one more year and see what happens, but I won't be shocked to see a couple of coaches in the SEC if there's reevaluation around the league after the season's over.
When the 3 games Oklahoma has won this season in SEC play, they have shot 40%, 42%, and 56% from deep. This week, they were under 40%. They take a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes, but you can't let them get too hot. Auburn's got to bring that defensive effort, that connection, that cohesiveness that they had against Kentucky. They got to do it against Oklahoma because guess what? Kentucky was the number 1 team in the league shooting 3-pointers in SEC play. Oklahoma's number 2, and they shoot more of them. Incredibly,
Auburn closes the season facing 3 of the 4 best 3-point shooting teams in the SEC. I mean, Kentucky on Saturday, they play Oklahoma this week. Alabama is in the top 4 as well. I think Texas is the other team in 3-point percentage there, but it's it is a.
They have a high 3-point rate, and they hit a decent amount of them. Nigel Pack shooting 44% from deep this season. You remember Nigel Pack, don't you, Dan?
This is going to be like
it's only year 12 of Nigel Pack's career.
Now, we haven't previewed a lot of Nigel. We haven't previewed, Auburn hasn't faced Nigel Pack a lot in his career.
Well, we've been aware of him.
But we've been aware of him, and this is a game kind of like Texas where they have assembled a Legion of Doom. They have assembled a group of people Auburn has seen in the past to it's
Darian Reed,
a real hive of villainy.
Moag, like the former
Wuggy,
the former Alabama front courts there. Xavier Brown shooting 36% from deep in SEC play. He transferred from St. Joe's. They've got some decent size. But it's going to be a lot of Brown, a lot of Pack, a lot of Tay Davis in the front court.
Who I believe did he play against Auburn when he was at Notre Dame? I may be misremembering that, but
yes, he did. The game in Brooklyn.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He played 18 minutes, went 5 for 8 in the game at 13 points in that game.
Yeah, so the guy that they've seen before.
That's amazing.
The other thing about Oklahoma, Dan, that really stands out, they are the lowest rated defense in the SEC this season in conference play, according to KenPom. They gave up 89 to Tennessee, 91 to Vandy in that win, 94 to Kentucky, 88 to Missouri, 83 to Arkansas. They had a stretch where they were giving up 80 pretty much every night, 96 against Florida. But Nebraska got 105 on them earlier in the year. For Auburn, it's can you attack and can you get going downhill? Opponents in SEC play are shooting 57.4% from 2 against Oklahoma this season. That is dead last in the SEC. Just going to throw some numbers at you here. 2-point field goal defense. Tennessee shot 62% from 2. They were 28 to 45 in their win earlier in the week. Georgia went 22 of 30 from 2. That's 73%, even though that was a win for Oklahoma. Texas, 75%. Arkansas, 72%. Alabama, 60%. Florida, 60%. Florida, Dan, Florida hit 32 twos against Oklahoma earlier this year. So this is the team that you can get downhill against and try to find some success. That way, they will give you some foul. They will give you some fouls. They've got a really good shot blocker. Woge's been a great shot blocker for them this year. But for
I think it's Wuggy.
Wuggy,
yeah.
Sorry.
Now here's the one I'm excited to try. Ielatansov. I believe. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Russian.
Kirill. I think it's 5 syllables. I think it's Kirill Atantsov. But they got
they've got a Wonkwo on their team too.
They got Wonkwo.
Yeah.
It's a
super experienced team. They're top 10 in experience in the league, so they're battle tested. They don't force a lot of turnovers. They've gotten kind of beat up on the offensive glass at times this year. You look at a lot of their losses in SEC play, teams have just been able just to hammer them on the offensive glass. So for Auburn, get back to finishing well around the rim from 2, because I think you're going to get those opportunities against Oklahoma. Crash the offensive glass, make it count, keep pounding away. And then on the defensive end, don't let them get hot from 3. Don't let a team at home get hot from 3, because they have the full capability of doing so. If you do that, you'll have a chance to walk out of there with a victory. But this is a Oklahoma team better on offense than they are on defense. So you gotta pack your defense on the plane ride to Norman for sure. So
and a quick turnaround too, for a real physical game Saturday night. I'm sure there was some jubilation and some celebrating done afterward. You gotta rearview mirror it, and you gotta get ready to probably lunchtime Monday, get on the plane. And
they'll probably be heading out Monday afternoon. I will be heading out Monday night. I'm taking the long way to get to Oklahoma. I don't know if you ever know this. I don't know how often you've ever flown into Oklahoma. It's not cheap from Atlanta for some reason. It never has been. So I'm flying into Dallas and driving up. It's about a 3-hour drive. So saving a lot of money doing that. But I'm leaving on Monday night, taking my time getting up there on Tuesday.
It is astonishing trying to fly to a lot of places in Texas or states that border Texas, how much money you can save renting a car, like flying into Dallas and renting a car.
Yeah, Dallas or Houston.
Houston's
really cheap to fly into. But the thing there also is that the Oklahoma City's like 20 minutes away from Norman. Like, it would have been a whole lot easier, which is what we did during football season. But for some reason, I just could not do it ticket wise this year. By the way, also collecting the Infinity Stones. This will be the 16th of 16 SEC road venues I've been to in basketball, and then I will be only missing one in football, which is Texas. Yep. I have been to the stadium. I have not covered a game there.
Now the next step is going to be you got to cover an Auburn win in all of these different places, right? And then it's got to be.
You're
close.
Well, with the Florida one being what it is in basketball, I'm thinking about. I've never covered an A&M win on the road. Auburn has one on A&M on the road, but it's been a while. I've never covered a win at Tennessee. Those are probably the two. Now, because the other ones definitely I can rattle off ones off the top of my head.
And I guess Oklahoma now. Auburn would have to win.
Sure. Yeah, they'd have to win against Oklahoma. But yeah, I mean, we covered a win in Arkansas. So yeah, that'll be a really interesting one for Auburn. On Tuesday night, we will have coverage of that. We'll preview.
Troy's won everywhere but JMU in my time doing this, and I guess a couple people have new. I've been to every Sunbelt stadium or every Sunbelt arena. A couple like Georgia Southern has a new gym. Mm-hmm. We haven't been to the new gym yet in Statesboro, but we went to the old one. But it's JMU would complete the set of covering a Troy victory. Yeah. At every single place.
But we will have coverage of that this week, and we'll be back. We'll do the podcast. Got Film Room on Monday, working on it right now on KeShawn Murphy. But big win for Auburn. Big win they absolutely needed. Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you reading. Appreciate you checking us out. It wasn't as fun during what we were calling the masochist hours here these last few weeks.
Oh, the sicko. Look, shout out to the hardcores. Right, like shout out
and this was a free episode, so everybody can listen to this one.
And welcome aboard if you weren't grinding through some of those recaps.
We accept you. We accept you anyway.
If you weren't grinding through some of the recap episodes after Auburn losses in the last month or so,
especially the last one,
like it's understandable. I'll tell you what though, I'm still really proud of the work we put in, even after some losses that weren't super easy to break down.
And we hope you guys appreciate. The level that we're putting into, like the detail with the writing side and the podcast and going on these trips and all that. So, I mean, they're fun when they're winning. I'll tell you, it's better for business, and it's, more people are engaged for sure. And that one last night was as big of a thriller as I can remember for a team this season. Just be able to grind it out the way with those stakes. And we talked about it coming in, Dan. Like, how many times have we seen over the last few years? I go back to that season 3 years ago. I continue to do so. It's like, hey, you really need to beat Tennessee at home at the end of the regular season, and they did. So, I mean, there's some parallels there still for sure. But we will be back later in the week, and obviously subscribe to auburnobserver.com. Check everything we do, get sent to your email inbox, so you'll get that podcast later in the week. That's just for subscribers, as well as all of the newsletters. Also, real quick, we mentioned it earlier, big weekend for Auburn baseball so far. I'm checking the score right now. They're up right now on Louisville as we're talking, so they could be going 3-0 in Texas. They're in a good spot right now. But the win against Florida State, the win against Kansas State on Friday. So check out our buddy Adam Cole for all the coverage there on the advertiser. And then this weekend, also want to throw out big weekend for Auburn's Olympic sports as well. Tennis sweeps Florida on the men's and women's side. Equestrian got a big win. And then gymnastics, lose to Alabama, but in gymnastics, you're going for the score more than what the other opponent's doing. They have their
Bama's a title contender.
Oh, yeah,
too,
absolutely.
So.
But best meet of the season for them. Great score for a team that's got some injuries and having to grind through some youth this year. You check all that out. Our buddy Justin Lee at Auburn Torch, subscribe there. So yeah, check out Adam, check out Lee, check out our stuff. Got plenty of stuff going on because it was a good weekend. It's been a good weekend so far for Auburn. And as I said, as we're recording this, Auburn's up by 2 on Louisville, trying to get another big win in Arlington. So yeah, check it all out. We got it.
Anything in Norman that you look forward to seeing or eating?
Not necessarily. Like I'm telling you, when we went during football season, we went to that Laotian place that was just off the charts.
One of our you're gonna be back in Brahms country.
I went to Brahms the other day.
Yes, you did. Yeah. One of our favorite regional fast food chains.
Yeah.
I will be in Brahms country too. As a matter of fact,
because you're going to Jonesboro.
Yeah, we're gonna be like 6 hours apart. I think. I got if you're depending on when you're hearing this, I'm getting on a bus on Sunday to Jonesboro, Arkansas. 2 games left in the regular season in the Sun Belt. Troy tied with Georgia Southern in first place, 14-2, 2 wins away.
And they do split titles.
They do split titles. Yeah, they'll do seeding. They'll do tiebreakers for the conference tournament seeding. But everyone with the best record has
gets a banner.
By the way, there's a chance for a 7-way tie in the men's standings. If you look at the Sun Belt standings,
I need to pull that up.
If you look at the Sun Belt men's standings, there's a chance for a 7-way tie for first place, which would be especially hilarious considering the Sun Belt tournament bracket is like
the Mortal Kombat ladder.
It's the Mortal Kombat ladder, so you could have a team that shared the conference title.
So App State, Troy, Marshall, and South Alabama all have 6 losses. Texas State, Arkansas State, and Coastal all have 7 losses.
Yeah,
heading into the final week of the
Come on,
season.
baby. I mean, so there's a chance for a real mess there at the top of the men's standings. But so yeah, Troy 2 wins away. They got Arkansas State, who beat Troy 3 times last year. They got Arkansas State in Jonesboro.
Troy men have the Louisiana teams at home this week. That's a good way to maybe punch a championship.
Would love to see Scott Cross and the men win the Sun Belt regular season title. They won the tournament last year and got to represent the Sun Belt in the NCAA's. But the women have Arkansas State and South Alabama looking to win the conference title for the first time since 2022. I might have to break out a speech or something to get them over the top. But no, it should be a lot of fun. Tuesday night, I'm calling the game. Troy Sports Media Network in Jonesboro. As something about like being in, especially with both teams in the picture.
Yeah.
For the regular season championship, that energy at Marshall earlier this year was just incredible, and I'm really looking forward to Tuesday night, knowing that Ark State's fans are going to bring it. And Troy's been up to the task of breaking some hearts on the road.
Before we go, I wanted to finish with this. There's a couple of things. One, Sommer, the Rondale Moore news last night is heartbreaking. I was talking about it with somebody yesterday when the news came out. His game against Ohio State in 18 is one of some of the most fun I've ever watched a game. I was riding back with somebody from an Auburn game. We were on the road, I believe, and we're just watching it in the back seat, and it was on a phone, and it was just like, this dude is beating Ohio State. Like this kid right here is going to be, and obviously Auburn played Purdue later that year.
When a receiver or a running back is like a genuine game breaker, right? Especially at an early age. I always think about like Percy Harvin at Florida, and like these games where it's just like these guys are electric from the moment they step on the field. And so it's just and he did a lot of really cool things for the Purdue community as well.
So just a heartbreaking story for sure. And but I wanted. He is one of my favorite college football players of the last decade or so. Just watching him, he was electric, and very, very, very sad. On a much more positive note, Dan, I did want to talk Winter Olympics before we went.
Okay, I'll tell you what, real quick, since we're talking somber too.
Sure.
I thought it was very cool of Steven
Wes Rucker
to mention Wes Rucker.
Yeah, and I was going to say this. I didn't know Wes very well. I had talked to him maybe a couple times. I talked to him in Lexington for a decent amount.
Met him at Media Days.
Yeah.
Knew him a couple
guy
times.
Guy who had a ton, incredible reputation, had been kind of the guy at Tennessee for a long time. Very heartbreaking story there with him passing away, and his wife's expecting, and they have a child. It's just really rough. But yes, for Stephen Pearl to start his post game, after that big win, to talk about Wes Rucker was. I thought it was very tough. Told the story about how Stephen had a radio show out of college. I didn't know that. I didn't know that part. That was some Stephen Pearl lore I didn't know. He said he had a terrible radio show out of college. He was just trying to figure stuff out, and he said that Wes was always really very full of his time. Winter Olympics side, Dan, we record this right after the U.S. win gold in men's hockey. That was fun. That was so much fun, man. And for that to be the way, beating Canada on a golden goal, after what had happened, what was it? We were talking about 10, right? It was
yes,
that one. It was really, that might have been the last time I was really kind of engaged with an Olympic hockey tournament.
Well, and then you had the nations deal in the NHL last year, which fueled the fire. So the thought that you got a little taste of international hockey and what it means to these guys.
I'll also say this. That I did not realize that this was the first gold until they said it during the game. The first gold medal for the U.S. in men's hockey since the Miracle on Ice. It's crazy. First in my lifetime. That's nuts to think about. But yeah, really cool. The Johnny Hockey tribute at the end, with his sweater and bringing his kids out onto the ice, because he was what he meant. Not just for the sport of hockey in America, but for that U.S. team, that was a real tearjerker kind of moment. But yeah, big win, and to beat Canada, because that's their thing. That's always the thing of me. It's to beat a team, to beat a country at the sport that they love the most and care about the most, rules. It's just, I don't know if there's a better feeling in sports than that. And so to do that with Canada was pretty cool.
The countries that have won the gold medal in ice hockey, in men's ice hockey at the Olympics since the last time the United States did it, in 1984 it was the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
In 1988 it was the Soviet Union.
Yep.
In 1992 it was the unified team, consisting of 5 of the 15 former Soviet republics, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and Uzbekistan, who made the decision to collaborate and create a unified team. That was 92. Scrolling back to in 94, it was Sweden. In 98, it was the Czech Republic. In 2002, it was Canada. In 2006, it was Sweden. In 2010, it was Canada. In 2014, it was Canada. In 2018, it was the Olympic athletes from Russia.
Ah, yes.
And then in 2022, it was Finland. So a
yeah.
very varied group, but no, very, very cool. And congratulations to Congratulations to the USA men's hockey team.
Also, one more thing.
What an Olympics, right?
Oh, man. It's just incredible.
Tell you what, I feel like Alyssa Liu.
I was about to mention Alyssa Liu.
Is going to be famous for like
ever.
It's like a Mary Lou Retton kind of deal where you've sort of
Michelle
like,
Kwan.
Michael Phelps. Like your ticket's punched where you just get to be.
Here's my thing.
You can do other stuff too, but you're Olympic.
I don't know
Olympics.
I don't know a ton about figure skating, and I don't like particularly get a lot of it.
If you ask me to if you show me 2 figure skating routines, and you say, hey, which one got the 97.8 and which one got the 97.5, it's like I'm gonna be useless.
But I will say this
like
about
asking a dog to do math problems.
The thing about Alyssa Liu that stood out to me is one is like her, like she's just herself, like is very much like her own type of person, which is really, really cool.
You like her because she looks like she would be the lead singer of an emo band.
Also true. Number 2,
she looks like the lead singer of a band that Justin would listen to.
Yes. Number two, figure skating. I've talked about this with Justin Lee in the past as well. It's like elite level gymnastics, like when they're at the Olympics. Everybody looks like they're ready to die at any moment because of the stress and the and I think you should get a lot of that in figure skating as well. That free skate routine, that gold medal routine, she's just having fun. She's just out there. She's just out there just vibing. And like, that's really cool to see that like you can do that. Obviously there's a whole lot of work and attention to detail and all that, but like also you can just see like real joy and enthusiasm and personality out of that. And to win the gold doing that, I think is really cool.
And I know folks have observed this, but I will add, as someone who remembers the early 90s when it wasn't about
when you hit her in the knee with the
exactly when Paul Walter Hauser
when Paul Walter Hauser and I
when he
had a job to do
when him and Jeff Gillooly did so like I mean just like having like being old enough being old enough to remember that. It's like this is so different as far as the
vibes could not be any different.
The sisterhood and the support, and that's refreshing.
Well, that was so funny because it was like you've seen so much, and it's really cool. The Olympics, how many folks have been on the medal stand together, like celebrating one another, and then like the U.S. beat Canada in hockey, and it's like we hate all of you. Like. That's you got to have both of that. And I would say shout out. I was talking about the men's team because women winning golden goal as well, and women have been a better force internationally these last few decades. But yeah, you got to love the camaraderie, sportsmanship, the human spirit, the collective, the collective grind that we all go through to become elite at this point, and then U.S. and Canada be like, suck it.
Yeah, gloves off. Let's go. We're throwing down.